Donald Trump blaming lack of leadership leading to the ambushes on police, but President Obama is actually blaming social media for the division.
We have our divisions, and they are not new. Around-the-clock news cycles and social media sometimes amplify these divisions. And I know we're about to enter a couple of weeks of conventions where our political rhetoric tends to be more overheated than usual.
Tony Perkins is the evangelical leader and a former Baton Rouge police officer. First and foremost, Tony, our prayers go out to you and the Baton Rouge police family. To another horrific scene of violence in America. I think we all know that social media certainly has its downsides, particularly the spread of evil and hatred. But what is President Obama getting wrong with respect to maybe the buck stopping at his desk as well?
Well, Charles, I mean, we have seen a more of a polarized society, and I look back when I was on the street, it's been about 25 years ago. I was both with the East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office and the City Police at different times. And we have seen, I talked to some officers yesterday who were on the scene. In fact, I was in Baton Rouge yesterday. And there's a great concern. And there is a concern that this president has sown these seeds of distrust and division. I mean, we go back to 2009, after his first year, back to Harvard, where there was the arrest of a professor there who was entering a house 911 call, and remember that led to the beer summit where the president sat down with the police. But there was an assumption made that there was a racially motivated arrest. That's played out over and over again. When the facts are made clear, we realize that was not the case. This has sown more racial division in this country, and as a result, as we've seen from Ferguson and elsewhere, we're putting the lives of people, we're dividing the citizens from the police, and that's dangerous.
Tony, a lot of people say it would be cynical at this point. Nevertheless, if you had President Obama's ear, what could he do in the amount of time that he has left in office to change this? Do you think just coming up and perhaps having one serious day of recognizing police officers without throwing anything else in the mix, talking about how they step out there for us, how they protect us, really honoring the men and women in blue, could that go a step toward fixing some of this?
Well, I think it certainly couldn't hurt, but I think what has been created here has become so large and it's spread across the country as a cancer. And I was yesterday, I was actually in Baton Rouge because I was ready to do leading a church service. I was preaching, and I got the word of the shooting of these officers just as I was about to baptize the son of a city police officer. And I'll have to tell you, Charles, where we stand as a nation today, I think the one thing that can bring us together is our common faith in the God who created us. And I think, if anything, the president needs to call the nation to pray and pray to the God that our forefathers prayed to. We need unity right now more than we need anything. And we've got to put aside these racial divides, these ethnic divides, even the political divides. We've got to be, if we're going to be a nation that abides by the law, we have to uphold the law. And that starts all the way at the top. That was reflected in the platform that's going to be adopted this afternoon. I put language in there last week, not knowing that this was going to happen in Baton Rouge, but it has. It's time to stop it.
Tell us more about this language, Tony, because I hadn't heard anything about it.
Well, I put language into the platform last week that will be adopted formally today, this afternoon on the convention floor, that calls on the next president to stop sowing these seeds of discord and distrust between the police and the people that they're sworn to protect and to serve. And that starts with being law-abiders. And we've seen from this administration lawlessness, which has sown this distrust of authority. And then we've seen the president, again, in his administration, jump to conclusions before the facts were known and has made the police the bad guys. I've spoken to the officers that were tracking the case in Baton Rouge, most recent case. When this is all said and done, the investigation is clear and the evidence is seen by the public. The shooting was justified. Tragic, but justified. It's unreasonable for the President of the United States to interject himself in issues like this and inflame the divide in our communities.
Well, one nation under God, indivisible. That would be a pretty good way to start. I appreciate your thoughts, and I'm really happy you were able to get that in the platform. I think most of our viewers appreciate it. Thank you very much, Tony.
Thanks, Charles. Good to be with you.